Okay, so this is a commentated run of a +9 pit. It's a pretty good group, really good DPS. One kind of slightly lacking Demon Hunter that I think we were carrying. Um, I'm healing this as Mistweaver, DPS orientated Mistweaver, which I find pretty good. Obviously, this first pack. Tank pulls a couple of groups, so there's going to be some fairly heavy damage intake here. And you can see me really just making use of Thunder Focus into Rising Sun Kick, and then Conduit just to keep everybody topped up. Bearing in mind to keep dispels on the tank just to stop their max health being reduced, the ghouls put a debuff on him, which just reduces his max health. And yeah, once we get to a point where this group's in hand, you can see I'm really just having to focus on tank heal, but people are dropping. I haven't yet had to pop the kind of ultimate panic button of revival, but I have popped Crane. Tank's using his cooldowns, which is great. But this first group, which can be a really tricky pack actually in Pit for a healer, has gone. That one caster mob kind of just being there isn't helping. Bit of spinning crane kick spam for the healing, hoping to kind of proc it off itself, and we see Zolatas bargain come in. Good time to pop revival. I probably didn't need to there, but start of the dungeon, I'd rather get it cleared off quickly. Early deaths can lead to an abandon, so I'd rather not. And you can see me really just going through really kind of standard Mistweaver rotation and looking at the damage on the right. It doesn't look huge, but that's 26k DPS, which if I wasn't DPS, it wouldn't have been done. That's over a 45-second fight. That adds up quite a lot. So I'm getting kind of lucky here with spinning crane kick procs. Chaining them back to back, which does a lot of damage, as you can see, but more importantly, it does a lot of healing. And the procs just keep coming. I get really lucky here. It's kind of the one RNG element in Mistweaver. Sometimes on trash content like this, you are a bit dependent on whether you get procs, but I'm getting kind of lucky. Nobody's taking a huge amount of damage, so I can just kind of let cooldowns refresh, focus on doing a bit of DPS, focus on the procs. The little absorb bubble off renewing mist, enveloping mist can be really useful. It's not huge, but it procs quite a lot. So it can be really good. Zalatas bagging comes in, but we've got mobs up for me to DPS off, so I don't need to pop anything huge. And once again, I'm getting back-to-back procs on stuff, which just seem to scale with item level a little bit. But at this point, there's just not a lot of damage happening, which makes this pretty straightforward, really. And I'm conscious, I realise this watching the recording now, which will become relevant later, but nobody actually went and talked to that first NPC, which is going to become an issue later. This can be a tricky trash pack. If you get a couple of these kind of big lurching plague oozing mobs, you can run out of room here. We do have pretty good DPS. I'm not getting as lucky on procs on this trash pack for spinning crane kick. I'm getting a lot of enveloping mist procs, which is useful. But I am just conscious that the tank is taking a pretty heavy battering here. So I need to make sure A, the dispels go out, but B, just to maybe even hard cast a little bit just to keep him topped up. But things are dropping pretty quick. Zalatas Baggy comes in at a not great time. I'm kind of shepherded into a corner, nearly got line of sighted. So I just use Crane there. It's only a minute cooldown, and it is a lot of healing just to keep people topped up. These ghouls, if you don't have enough DPS on high keys, can be an absolute nightmare. If you don't get them picked up and you don't get them damaged, they will just carry somebody up to a point where they get dropped and they die and they get one shot and it's a little bit off your timer. I'm not sure why the Warlock's apologising. I know you can't see chat, but he is. So just saying, yeah, not a problem, mate. All good. Don't worry. I think he accidentally pulled a couple of mobs. But that's fine. You always need, if it's a couple of minor mobs, it just adds to the percentage. They just get cleaved down. So that's fine. And this is a decent DPS group, especially this Warlock. And I'm not finding I'm struggling to keep up. So I still haven't realised at this point that we've missed the first one. These Graveblades can hit pretty hard, but again, I am getting pretty lucky here on how often I'm getting spinning crane kick procs, and once again you can see Zalatath turns up, and this is not a good time for Zalatath to pop her nonsense because I don't have a lot of mobs to DPS off, so I have to use Shaluin's Gift, full +10 Shaluin's Gift, and that tops a couple of people up. I can dispel one more, and it does deal with it. Now here he pulls the dragon, which is fine. It does hit him quite hard, but cocoons up, not a problem, easily dealt with. Making sure to keep out of the breath because that really hurts if it hits you. And I can pop Thunder Focus and just go into really kind of standard DPS rotation. And with the right talents, Rising Sun Kick hits so hard that you do end up hitting a fair bit of DPS. You hit some nice benchmarks, and you can see that between the Warlock doing a really huge DPS and that Chamois stuff is dropping kind of quick, and the Mistweaver Monk DPS is not huge, but it does add up, and it does make timing these keys a little bit easier. So here we've got a couple of packs, and because these ghouls leap, they can be really tricky. And then we get Zalatath. Fortunately, I get Spinning Crane Kick proc, but I did have Revival if I needed it. I also had Conduit of the Celestials if I needed it. So I've got resources here to deal with that. And if you're new to Mistweaver, a lot of it is realizing what your resources are. Spinning Crane Kick proc's a resource, Revival's a resource, Crane's a resource, Conduit's a resource, even your stun is a resource, and a +10 gift is absolutely a resource, and all of these can be panic buttons. You can use normal rotation, just Tiger Palm into Blackout Kick into Rising Sun Kick, and then when people are getting lower than you can deal with through that, you can use one of your resources to keep everybody topped up, and it's a really rewarding gameplay loop because you also get to see a lot of damage happening. And there is a bit of RNG, you're a bit proc reliant, but on relatively small safe packs like this, you can just sit there and throw out some damage, and the healing is easily adequate, especially when you're getting huge procs. So this is a pretty easy pack, and we're coming up to the first boss here, and a bit of spoiler warning. I do die on the first boss, and I don't really know how at the moment, but I'm hoping, watching it back and doing this commentary, I will find out. Making sure to talk to that. Need to keep everybody topped up. And there we go, we're fine. We've dealt with Zalatath's Gift. We've now got, a decent buff. And we're coming up to the first boss. I think one of the things about Pit for me is it's a very lopsided dungeon because you have ages and ages of trash, boss, bit of trash, boss, bit of trash, boss, and it feels like all the trash is front loaded. But we are looking decent on time. Not incredible. It would be probably nice to be at like 24 minutes here. But 22 minutes coming up to the first boss is fine. We'll be okay. If we get a full wipe, we might be pushing it, but I'm not going to spoil it. We'll see if that happens. So again, we're just dealing with really easy packs here. Nothing huge. I'm able to kind of keep on top of the damage with normal healing. Tank sees that we're fine, so he pulls the additional group and he pulls the gargoyle, and this could be tricky. There's a fair few high damage mobs here. And there's quite a few things to avoid, so this can get a little bit out of hand, especially if that gargoyle doesn't get taken down. If it carries somebody up, especially if it carries the warlock, which is by far our highest DPS up, then this could get a bit iffy. But we're doing okay. Pally's popping some cooldowns. You can see I had a +10 gift just as that landed. I managed to time that right, so the debuff and the healing absorb hit. I hit that +10 Shaluin's Gift, and it got rid of it off a couple of people. This frost stacking debuff, it ticks along, and it doesn't seem like it's doing that much damage, but it actually is, and it pretty quickly gets people low if you don't either get rid of it or focus cast into people. And it is top tier deeps, and I do, Mythic Plus runs can be kind of silent, which is fine. Everybody's focusing, but it's I think a bit of positive reinforcement, especially from the healer, just kind of makes people a bit more comfortable. I'm using the opportunity here just to get Mana Tea out, a bit of mana back, just in case it's needed. Pretty much knowing that we're fine. He probably could have taken these two little mobs to the boss, actually. They don't really do anything. I just keep that tank dispelled. He's a pally tank, obviously. A little bit off meta, not really, kind of fine. A lot of cooldowns, a lot of self-healing, decent AoE damage. I know they're not as popular as they used to be, but I kind of like healing a paladin tank. Even just the divine shield taunt itself could be really useful. So Xalatas Bargain comes out as we're going up to the boss. I'd kind of like to get rid of it before, but they're going for it, so not a lot I can do about it. It's probably going to time out. It didn't actually, so I get a big Saronite thing on me, just taking it a little bit away from the group. I can roll over, roll behind, and start throwing out some damage. And the boss is already at 75%, so we're absolutely fine here. The pop heroism, Awbreaker's coming down. I just need to be careful here where I stand. And it can be tricky with a lot of nonsense on the floor. You just need to kind of make sure you're stood in the right place. And we're about to get the Glacial Overload. Now this can just one-shot you, and you can see I didn't realise this at the time, but I was not stood in the right place, and I got a lot of stacks, and then I couldn't see where to go, and I didn't realise what killed me at the time. I was really confused, but get instant res, pop revival, and we're fine. And that's absolutely a me mistake. There's no mitigation from that. I just wasn't paying enough attention to my positioning. It happens. Boss is already 2/3. I'm all dead, so I'm just being a little bit more cautious here. Popping Celestial just to top everybody up. And I've still got cooldowns in the bag, so I thought, well, I might as well use Crane here. I can see Xalatas coming in. It's a good opportunity to get a bit of damage on the boss and use Crane just to keep everybody topped up and get that buff for everybody, really. Fortunately, nice bit of space to my left, and once again I get the Saronite debuff, so I'm just kind of taking it away from the group. Not a million miles away. You don't want to be, in the wilderness, but you do want to be just out of there a little bit. And boss is now nearly dead. I've got Touch of Death. It doesn't do that much damage as Mistweaver, but whatever. It's a little bit of extra deeps. It speeds things up a tiny bit, so we'll use it, and he's down. Could have been better. I could have done a better job there. I apologise to the group because that could have been a wipe. And looking back, it's very clear how I died, but at the time didn't realise. So we're not on the best timer. We're at 17 and a half minutes. And again, unbeknownst to me and to us and to the group, there's an NPC that we didn't talk to all the way back. That will become relevant very soon. So I can just use basic rotation. We've dealt with a lot of the worst trash actually now, and we're a little bit ahead on forces. These caster ones can be tricky. It's the debuff that comes out from them and the dot that really hurts. Xalatas comes out. I don't have a huge amount of cooldowns kind of to deal with this, but I do have Thunder Focus Tea into 3 quick rising sun kicks, and that deals with it. And you can see that dot is really hurting on that chamois. I don't like hard dispelling. Hard dispel myself, and then I get a spinning crane kick proc, which I can use just to top everybody up, really, and we're all good. Okay, so he's pulling one group into another group. So we've got a fairly big group here with some potentially high damage mobs. Nothing too crazy. I need to keep out of the way of that. I am aware, I'm conscious that there's a group over there, there's a group behind me. We do need to be a little bit careful what we're doing here. If we overpull, we could wipe. It's only +9, but some of these mobs do hit quite hard. Some of this trash in pit is tricky. So yeah, we're proceeding pretty well. Tank's fine. Tank's doing good. I'm just keeping in mind that the dispels, because they do add up, and when you've got 25-30% reduced health on your tank, stuff which would otherwise knock them down to half health, and you've got recovery time, all of a sudden is knocking them down to 15-20%, and they're popping cooldowns that they don't need to, that they don't have when they do need them, and the same goes for you. So it's just really being proactive with that debuff. So he's getting them all rounded up here. This is a pretty quick group. And we're nearly at second boss. We're at 15 and a half minutes. A little bit behind on time, but nothing huge, and nothing unrecoverable. We might have to do a couple of big trash packs before the last boss, but that's okay. We don't want to risk the wipe here. So yeah, somebody's going to speak to that human, and we have won that we haven't spoken to. And I still don't think anybody's realised here. This is 2 packs, so this is potentially a bit tricky, and these gargoyles can really do some cause some problems. But this one, fortunately, we've got the DPS. It goes down. I'm getting every proc under the sun here, which is really really useful. Just keeping the tank topped up and dispelled when it's off cooldown. I'm looking at myself now, thinking dispel. But that comes at a useful time. I've got gift. I can just dispel it. Dispelling the tank and dealing with the DPS on the two DPS. But this is I panic slightly here because I'm conscious that they're dropping quite quickly and I'm getting put up in the air. So slightly tense moment there, but we're good. And so trash is cleared, and yeah, Shami has realised and he's heading off. He's going back right to the start to talk to that human. So we've got a small wait, and I'm confused here, and I realise, and I'm having a look, and yeah, he's off. So we've got a minute or two's wait here. So good time if you'd like, a full guide on how I Mistweaver. Let me know. I'll happily do a full guide. So yeah, we're still waiting on the Shami to clear that group out. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just kind of messing around and wasting time. I think it occurs to me now that the Warlock could drop a stone. Because I see the Shami's done it. He's dropped a stone, but it's not the right one. And there he does. And we have the standard summon, no you first, no you first, no you first. And here we go. So we're summoning him back. And he's summoning and we're off. So this, I think this is everybody's least favourite boss. This can go so wrong so quickly. We don't pop heroism here. It's still on cooldown. So it's really just kind of a case of getting rid of him as quickly as possible. But sometimes as a healer, people die, as you'll see, and there is just nothing you can do about it. There's absolutely nothing you can do to prevent it. And damage can just come out here. You can get so much damage comes out so quickly here. So you can see me kind of making use of the resources I have. I haven't really used anything yet. I use a revival there just because people are getting kind of low. And I'd rather we didn't have deaths fairly early on. It probably didn't need to, but then Thunder Focus into 3 Rising Sun Kicks does a fair bit of damage and tops people up nicely. And just keeping out of the crap on the floor, making sure I don't wander into it, and we're looking okay. The boss is dropping pretty quickly. He's doing his get him, and I just back off because I'm in melee and I'm a healer, and it is very possible he could target me. So I want to put a little bit of distance just to give myself a bit of time to maneuver. He doesn't. I can see he's going for the Shami, so that's fine. Again, being careful of my positioning. And I've still got a lot of resources. Thunder Focus is up, Crane's up. So it's just keeping a bit of distance. And now he's going for me. Unfortunately, I've got enough room. One of the great benefits to Mistweavers is, you have all of these movement tools, so I can pretty easily get out of the way. But somebody's now outranged me, so trying to get myself back centrally, using a couple of cooldowns, using Rising Sun Kick, and these 2 DPS are taking a lot of damage. And I wasn't really sure what was doing it. I was trying to keep it, and she dies, or they die. So yeah, they get an instant res, but people are still taking quite a lot of damage. And I think it's one of those things, when this boss gets slow, everybody hates it so much. It is just keeping people hyper-focused into just killing him, which is completely understandable. I popped Conduit just to keep everybody topped off, and he's pretty much down 2%, 1%, and somehow they've died again. I think that might have been lacking on my part, but there we go. Not my finest work, it has to be said. So we're pretty much bang on 10 minutes here, and we've got 1, 2, 3 trash groups, the mob up the tunnel. So we ideally want to be getting to the last boss with 4 or 5 minutes, a little bit more just in case of a wipe, because the last boss can wipe pretty quickly. Once again, I'm getting really lucky with procs here, just back to back to back to back procs. So he goes and he gets the second group, which is fine. I've got kind of everything up. I'm at high mana, but I know this is going to hurt. And again, get a useful proc. Pally's popping some cooldowns. We're probably going to be okay. Making sure to dispel, making sure to use everything. You can see me go into kind of, okay, let's preemptively cocoon you. And I can get a proc and then start looking to do some damage. Conduit actually hits pretty hard, so it's a useful thing to do on big packs. Keeps everybody topped up. I've got a debuff on me, but it's not ticking too hard, and there comes Zelatath. So Thunder Focus has already been used. I don't have huge amounts of resources, but I do have enough to get rid of that debuff. And again, we've just got one mob now. He pulls this, which is fine. He pulls this mob into the next slot, which is absolutely all good. And this is really kind of the last big trash pack. Fortunately, again, I get loads of useful procs here, and I can just sit there and do some damage. There's nothing hurting anybody too hard at this point. You can see kind of everything dropping pretty quickly. The DPS, especially from this lock, is really excellent. So stuff's dropping, and I have the resources to keep everybody all topped up here. Shillowin's Gift is a really useful kind of, once it gets to plus even just 4 or 5 or higher, it is an absolute healing nuke where it just tops people up really quickly. A plus 10 will kind of fully heal 2 or 3 members of your group, but even a plus 4 will chunk heal a tank and heal a DPS most of the time. And most of the way up, so it's all good. So we're all conscious of time here. Zelatath's bargains come out. I'm trying to do what I can to get rid of it off everybody in time. A few guys and one elite. So I would imagine, I'm thinking here, are you going to pull them up to the mob? And he does. He goes to do that. Not ideal because there's ticking dots out on everybody, but it's fine. It's absolutely fine. We've got the healing. We've got the DPS. Trick for monks you can do on this is to drop your transcendence, which you can see me doing, and then run away. And then as soon as it pops, you can transcendence yourself back and avoid it running a lot of damage. Everybody was getting hit pretty hard there. Happens a lot on this particular mob, so I pop revival. Start dispelling people and using what I've got really. And once all the little lads are dead, you can see this dropping. He does the shield, so to move him around the back, and he's dropping pretty quick. Not a great time for Zelatath, but can't control it. So it drops in, and I just pop conduit at this point. We're close to the end. We don't want to risk anything untoward happening. So we're getting the last cryo burst, immediately dropping it, rolling away as it expands, and we could tank this mob up the tunnel for the last couple of percent, and we head towards the last boss with 6.5 minutes, which is fine. It's probably enough to attempt it, wipe, and go again, to be honest. So I'm at this point, I'm pretty confident. I'm also pretty confident that this group can handle it, and I'm looking to see what my existing one is, and it's a plus 7, so this is a plus 9, so it's going to get me a little bit more rating, which is nice. It wasn't rating that I did it for. I actually wanted the crest, but it's nice to get a little bit of extra. And here we go. And this boss can go very wrong very quickly, but you can see me. I get the first burst, and I maybe should have gone for the further away one, but what you want to do here, if you're not aware, is to get those blue circles onto the green spikes, and it will prevent them spawning ads. And if you can minimize ad spawns, this becomes a really straightforward fight, actually. So just keeping out of that, being aware of positioning, and then get back on the boss to do some damage. Popping Thunder Focus into the triple Rising Sun Kick, gets a lot of healing, gets a lot of renewing mists out. Always good. And the Chamois does, if you can just see it, an incredible job there of getting to that far one. So we're just going to get one mob here to my left. And I'm anticipating it spawning and kind of getting in there to leg sweep it. So he's summoning them now. I'm holding on to this kick because I know it will be a massive healing nuke with the amount of mobs it will hit, and I get lucky. I get another one off it, and I'm using Conduit for a bit of AoE damage. And you can see that, on the damage meter there, the amount of damage all that does together. So boss is now below half. We're all looking good. We've got heroism up, and I've got the luxury here of just kind of spamming some damage into him because there's nothing much he can do at this point. It can still go very wrong, but it doesn't. We're fine, and he's going to be dead before the next Army of the Dead comes out. But I go for the fire one here, and just to limit test it really, and pretty easily make it. It's again another really big advantage of monk healers is the mobility you have to just move around. I vastly mistimed that crane kick, and you can see we are about to kill him. Somehow this Warlock again takes a massive chunk of damage, not sure how. Just keeping everybody topped up. And then, predictably, at the end, we get a Salatath proc. So I'm just kind of, as a courtesy more than anything else, just getting it off everybody. So that was it. I got a necklace, which was actually an upgrade. It was really useful. And that was a pretty straightforward textbook bit of Saron with a couple of mistakes on my part. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. See you next time.